Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our training centre here in Lansing. My name's Paul Barber. I'm the Chief Executive and Deputy Chairman. On my left, Tony Bloom, Roberto De Zerbi, Enrico and David Weir, our Technical Director. What I thought I'd do is just very briefly explain exactly how today's going to work. So Roberto would like to say a few words to kick off the media conference in just a second, and then all of us will be available to take questions from you as Paul dictates over there. Roberto is going to speak in English for the first part of the press conference, and then may use Enrico to help with some of the more technical questions that you might ask at different stages in the press conference. So I think we'll kick off by handing straight over to Roberto to say a few words.
Good afternoon. I would like to start my first press conference. I'm sorry for my English. My goal will be to achieve to start to speak English by January. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very proud to be the new head coach. I want to say thank you, the chairman and all the club. I have studied every single player, and I think I will do a very, very good job. I think in Potter worked very, very good, very well, and I will mi sono bloccato. Yes.
And I'm sure that I can work as well very good here.
Thank you, Roberto. It's certainly better than my Italian, I can tell you that. I would not have attempted to do any of that in Italian. So, Roberto, thank you very much and welcome. Very happy to start to take any questions from anyone.
Roberto, welcome to Brighton. Welcome to the Premier League. Great to see you and everyone here. I know you touched upon it a little bit there, but why did Brighton feel like the right opportunity for you to take your coaching career forward?
Benvenuto, grazie di essere in Premier League, ti accogliamo qui perché il Brighton secondo te è stato il punto giusto per entrare?
Ma il Brighton è stato una squadra che mi ha voluto fortemente. Ha uno stile di gioco molto simile a quello che ho io in testa. Io avevo delle altre possibilità, però quando mi ha chiamato il Brighton sono stato convinto di venire. Credo di poter essere un allenatore che continui in questa direzione, nella direzione loro, che si addice molto bene a quella che è la mia idea di calcio, e ci siamo trovati immediatamente.
Brighton strong wanted me here as head coach, so I think the style of play of the squad, of the team, is very similar to my idea of football. So I think we met each other since straight after we started to talk. Of course, I had also other teams that were looking for me, but I think that after the first talks we were just on the same wave, and I'm sure that I can do it well here.
You were in England not that long ago where you met Pep Guardiola, who's someone you would call an idol, someone you've looked up to. Is that the style and type of football that Brighton fans can expect from you as the head coach, someone that wants to play attacking, expansive football that will be easy on the eyes, Graham Potter has done in the past?
Guardiola, sanno tutti della tua relazione con Guardiola, che è un ottimo. Possiamo i tifosi del Brighton aspettarsi e avere negli occhi il calcio che
Sì, sì. Per me iniziare a lavorare nel Brighton è facilitato dal lavoro che ha fatto Potter prima di me.
For me, it's very easy to start to work here in Brighton because I know the work that is made by Potter before me.
Ci sono tanti giocatori con caratteristiche precise a quella che è la mia idea.
There are a lot of players very close to my idea of football.
Hanno delle caratteristiche anche di mentalità molto simili a quello che voglio, hanno coraggio nell'andare a pressare, hanno la voglia di giocare, hanno giocatori con grande talento.
They have the right skills and also the right characteristics, especially mentally, to play my football and to play brave as I want.
E è chiaro che prendo una squadra quarta in classifica.
It's clear that now I take a team which is on the 4th position of the table.
Però questo è uno stimolo maggiore per me.
But this is giving me much more motivation.
Per quanto riguarda il calcio di Guardiola, Pep penso che sia un allenatore inarrivabile e l'ha dimostrato non solo in Inghilterra ma anche in Germania e anche in Spagna.
For what concern Guardiola's football, I think he is unreachable because he has shown such kind of football here in UK, like in Germany, like in Spain.
Have you spoke to Pep in the last 48 hours since your appointment?
Sunday evening, yes.
What did he say?
È contento che sono venuto.
He is very happy that I'm on board
Mi ha
here.
parlato molto bene del club.
He told me very good about the club.
E mi ha detto che è sempre pronto ad aiutarmi e qualora avessi bisogno.
And he told me that if I need, he will be very happy to help me.
Tranne nella partita che andremo a giocare contro di loro.
Of course, not in the match we are playing with against them.
Brilliant. Tony, you've made many appointments since you took over the club. Where does Roberto rank in terms of your excitement levels?
Well, I think it's such a key decision for the football club to make. I think every time we've had a new head coach, I'm full of excitement, and today is no different. I mean, I think Roberto is a really good fit for this football club, really good fit for the set of players that we have and the style. Obviously, there will be differences with how Graham played, but there's a lot of similarities, and that was a really important thing for us. And when we met with Roberto, the conversation flowed. It went very well, and we're really confident that we've got the right head coach for this football club for right now.
Paul, if I could just bring you in at this moment as well. Clearly there's been a lot of work going on over the course of the weekend with regards to work permits and visas. Can you just bring us up to speed with the latest with regards to Roberto's backroom team and how that's shaping up?
Yeah, sure. So Roberto and Andrea Maldera, who will be Roberto's assistant, have both been granted their GBEs, their governing body endorsements. So now we just have to wait for the formal work permit to arrive, which hopefully won't be too far away. We've also got another small group of Roberto's former staff that we are going through the process with. And then in addition to that, Andrew Crofts, who's been our under-21 coach, will step up to work between the two groups, the under-21s and the first team, to give Roberto and Andrea further support. And then in addition, we've got Nick Stanley, who's our set-piece coach, Jack Stern, assistant goalkeeping coach, and Adam Brett, head of medical, who've all been here a long time, and so be able to provide that support that Roberto and his team need to bed into the club quickly. And obviously the timing of this, although in sad circumstances we lost the two games that we would have played in the last 2 weeks. Obviously we've now got the international break as well, which just gives us that little bit of time to bed everyone in and to get them familiar with this new environment.
And finally, for myself, David, your big challenge now to find a man to replace Graham Potter, and you've come across Roberto. What was that process like in terms of trying to find a head coach that you felt could fit into the philosophy of this football club and carry on the evolution that's happened over the last few years?
Yeah, well, I think it was collaborative in terms of, Paul and Tony's support in terms of what this football club is, what this football club needs. And, we look out in the market now and I think you see it's quite obvious to all who the good coaches are. And Roberto was available. He fitted the criteria that we were looking for. When we met him, were really excited by him as a person and how he was. So it just seemed like a really natural fit. So after that meeting and after a few conversations, I think we all became convinced that he was the right person to take our football club forward. It's been a relatively short time. We weren't expecting Graham to leave, so we had to react. But I'm really happy with how quickly we've reacted, the person we've got, and the future for this football club. So it was a really, really good process, and we're really looking forward to the next days and months ahead.
Thanks very much. Roberto, you mentioned Brighton are fourth. They've had an amazing 6-7 months. It looks like staying fourth, going higher, is very close to impossible. So what is success in your mind for this club?
Secondo me migliorare il risultato dell'anno scorso, e quindi vuol dire stare comunque nelle prime 10 posizioni del campionato.
I think the right vision is to try to improve somehow, and of course the last season ended on the 9th place, so our vision is to stay in the first 10 teams of the league.
And Tony, can I ask your first impressions when you met Roberto? Did you have to sell the club to him, or did he know much about what you were going to pitch to him?
I think Roberto had done his homework. He knew a lot about the football club. Certainly in recent years, I did very briefly talk about the history going back a little bit longer, and it was only 25 years ago that we almost didn't have a club. So I think that was important. We didn't spend too long on that, but I did mention the fact that it used to be a 4-hour round trip to get to a home game at Gillingham, and again that was just 25 years ago. So having that knowledge and understanding of how the last 25 years have gone, that was the first few minutes of our conversation. Then we went very quickly on to current players in the squad and his experiences.
You felt he'd done lots of homework.
He'd certainly done a lot of watching of our recent games. He knew the players, he knew the style, he knew a fair bit, and this was only a few days after Graham had left. So yeah, I was pretty impressed with the homework he'd done.
Paul or David, you always have to be prepared for the unexpected and things, and I wonder when Roberto first appeared on your radar as someone worth keeping an eye on, someone, this guy's worth watching, and if we need to move, have him on our list.
Well, succession planning is a really important part of what we all do, across the club, and all of the senior positions we try and have someone behind the person that's in the job, ready to step in if they have to. Obviously, as David said earlier, we didn't expect to lose Graham when we did, and obviously we were disappointed to do so. But in those situations, you do have to react. You have to react quickly. So we had Andrew Crofts and a small team of people with Adam Lallana and Shannon Ruth ready to step in to take the first team if we were going to play that game at Bournemouth, and they did that exceptionally well, very professionally, very, very dedicated to doing the best job they could. But also the chairman, keeps a very close tab on some of the best coaches in the world and how they're developing young coaches, particularly perhaps coaches that are off the radar of other clubs. So it meant that when we find ourselves in this situation, we can move fairly quickly into a very short list. And Roberto was on the top of that list. We didn't approach anyone else. We didn't talk to anyone else. Roberto was our number one choice. And obviously, as David said, when we met him, it became very clear very quickly that there was a good fit, both from a technical point of view, but also from a cultural point of view.
Thank you.
Roberto, welcome. You watched a lot of the games. I know you saw a game at the weekend as well. What is your first impression of the Brighton squad?
Abbiamo tanti giocatori forti.
We have a lot of strong players.
Ho visto tante partite ultime del campionato.
I have seen a lot of last games in the Premier League.
Ho studiato tutti i giocatori uno alla volta.
I have studied all the players singularly.
La squadra in campo sa cosa fare.
The team knows what they have to do on the pitch.
Ha uno stile ben chiaro.
They have a very clear style.
Io credo che la perfezione non esista.
I believe that the perfection doesn't
e
exist,
ci sia sempre qualcosa da migliorare.
and there is always something to get improved.
Poi un conto è vederli alla televisione o vederli anche dal vivo, un conto allenarli i giocatori.
Then, of course, something is to watch the game on the TV or from the tribune. The other is to train them.
È chiaro che qualcosa in testa di qualcosa da portare di nuovo ce l'ho.
Of course, I have something in my brain that I have to bring here.
Senza stravolgere niente.
Without making big changes.
Però credo che si possa sempre migliorare, questa è la mia volontà, il mio obiettivo.
But I think it's always possible to improve, and this is my goal.
Thank you. Tony, when you appointed Roberto, how much importance did you put on the person as well as the coach and the type of person he is?
I think the person is absolutely key. So it's when we hire a head coach, when we've hired Roberto, it's the whole person. It's the coach. It's the person. It's the personality. It's the fit with the club. It's the culture. It's everything. So all parts have got to fit correctly for us to want to choose Roberto to be our head coach, and he absolutely did. So we're really, really pleased that Roberto is coming our head coach, and we really look forward to the months and seasons ahead with Roberto as our head coach.
Excellent. David, if I could ask you one, in terms of the style of play that Roberto's teams in the past have had, what most attracted you about those aspects that might fit in at this football club?
Yeah, I think it's clear to see. I think Roberto's teams at Sassuolo and Shakhtar after that are attacking teams. They're exciting to watch. He's adaptable. I think it's the sort of football that Brighton fans will look forward to watching. I think he can build on what's been done here already in terms of the players we've got, and he's obviously got a good understanding of the players already from watching, and he showed that clearly in the conversations we have. So I think there's no secrets now in football. I think you can see what's going on round about the world, and Roberto's clearly done his homework on us, and we've done our homework on him. So we think it'll be a really good fit, and as I said earlier, we're just really excited.
Finally, Paul, if I could just ask you, in terms of the support that you can give Roberto, to what extent can you do that, and how do you go about managing maybe the expectations in the early stages of his time at this football club?
Yeah, well, first of all, in terms of support, we've got a great group of staff here that many of whom have been here a long time, both at the training ground and at the stadium. And I think this week, Roberto and his team have seen just what kind of level of professionalism there is, both in terms of facilities and people. I think in terms of expectations, there's always going to be expectations through the roof when a new head coach comes in, and particularly when you're sitting in fourth place when he does. So I think the good thing is we communicate regularly with fans. We will continue to do that. We know how far we've come and how fast, and we know how difficult it is to sustain the kind of progress that we've made. So I think Brighton fans are increasingly realistic that we're in the toughest league in the world, best league in the world against the best clubs and the best players. So we've got to work hard to compete and to maintain our position, but we'll keep doing that.
Good afternoon. Can you tell us a little bit then about Roberto De Zerbi?
Puoi dirci qualcosa di Roberto?
Per me questa è una grande sfida.
For me, this is a big challenge.
Vengo nel campionato più importante del mondo.
I'm coming to work in the most important league of the world.
Per me è motivo di orgoglio essere in un club giovane, non da tantissimi anni sta in Serie A, ma è un club serio con le idee chiare.
I'm proud to be here in a young club because it's not a long time that is in Premier League, but with clear and right ideas.
Vengo in una squadra già collaudata, già che va bene.
I come in a team which knows what to do and goes well.
Io vengo in punta di piedi perché so dove vado a lavorare.
I come here very humble because I know where I'm coming to work.
Però sicuramente vengo con la mia personalità.
But of course I come here with my personality.
E vengo per fare quello che sono capace.
To do what I know to do.
Portandomi dietro le mie esperienze, portandomi dietro quello che so e cercando anche di portar via quello che ci sarà da imparare.
Bringing here my experiences, what I know to do, and also one day when I will leave, to bring what I have learned here.
Io credo di disporre di giocatori con grande talento e credo che possiamo fare un grande lavoro.
I know that here there are a lot of talent players, and I know we can all together work very well.
And just one more. You finished playing in Sassuolo, finished 8th twice, 2 seasons running. Perhaps a less famous club in Italy, and you said there's a young club here. Do you maybe see some similarities about how you can go about the job?
Sì, penso di sì. Anche come età dei giocatori è molto simile.
Yes, I think so, because also the age of the players is really similar.
La mentalità del club, della proprietà è simile.
Mentality of the club and of the owner is very similar.
Credo che ci siano delle similitudini anche nell'attitudine dei giocatori.
I know that there are similarities also in the attitude of the players.
E chiaramente sono 2 stili di calcio diversi, la Premier League dalla Serie A.
Of course, Premier League and Italian League are 2 different kind of plays.
Però come club sono molto simili.
But like clubs, they are very similar.
Perhaps one for you, Paul. Is this something, was that experience in Italy and I suppose more recently in Ukraine, something that you obviously looked at quite a lot?
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly Roberto did a fantastic job at Sassuolo, and you know, they're competing in a tough league against some very, very big clubs with much bigger budgets. So there are some similarities between, you know, what he did there and what we're trying to do here on a consistent basis. So that was certainly an attraction. Of course, the extra experience of having worked in another country as well. You know, just being able to adapt to the language, the culture, you know, different weather conditions, different training conditions, different players of different nationalities. I mean, all those things, you know, count towards the picture that we build up to look to hire a head coach. So yeah, very important.
Tony, just one for you as well. You mentioned the last 25 years. You know, for want of a better phrase, you're now having your managers poached in inverted commas by, you know, perhaps. But I guess that maybe also shows you and everyone else sort of how far the club has come in that time.
Yeah, it's unusual if you're in the Premier League for, you know, a manager to go to another Premier League team, but it does go to show, you know, how well we as a club are doing. And obviously Graham in particular, you know, had a fabulous 3 years. He did brilliantly at our football club, but it's not just about one person or his coaching team. It's the whole setup, and it's the recruitment team, and it's the players we bring in, and our goal, our ambition is to keep that going. And you know, you have to keep pushing on, you know, and you are going to get changes sometimes. We, as Paul said before, we're always prepared for any eventuality, and we have to be as a Premier League football club. So yeah, in a way, it's, you know, like when our best players get sold, you know, it's a compliment to what we're doing at the football club.
And just one more, Roberto. How has the last 8 months or so been when you were working in Ukraine?
Come sono stati gli ultimi 8 mesi, specialmente quando sei stato in Ucraina?
La scelta di andare in Ucraina è stata particolare, perché dalla Serie A avevo possibilità di stare in Serie A, ho scelto di andare allo Shakhtar.
The choice of coaching in Ukraine was of course unusual, because I had the opportunity to keep going on training in Serie A in Italy, but I have decided to go to Shakhtar.
Ma è stata una scelta voluta per il club, per i giocatori che ci stavano, per la possibilità di fare la Champions League.
But I took this decision due to the player, due to the club, because there was the opportunity to play in UEFA Champions League.
E chiaramente tutto mi aspettavo, tranne l'epilogo che c'è stato il 24 febbraio.
And of course I was not expecting how everything has finished when on the 24th of February everything has started as the conflict.
Ed è stato brutto non solo per la guerra, ma è stato brutto proprio perché ho dovuto lasciare una creatura che stava nascendo, no?
And of course it was bad not only due to the war, but because I had to leave something that was burning very well.
E quello che posso fare è cercare di continuare a lavorare con la stessa passione, con la stessa serietà che avevo messo fino a quel giorno.
What can I do is to keep going on work with the same passion that I had on the day when we stopped.
Chiaramente mi porto dentro questa esperienza, mi porto dentro la dignità del popolo ucraino.
Of course, I have inside of me this experience, but also the dignity of Ukrainian population.
dei giocatori che ho allenato e del club con cui sono stato diversi mesi.
Of the players which I've trained and with the club that I've worked with for 8 months.